Okay, welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. I have a great guest for you today, Silvio Simac. Welcome, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
You're obviously a big movie star, you've been in some great movies, martial arts as well. But before we get into all that, can I just roll you back to the beginning, a little bit of your history of where you was born and where you grew up?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I was born in Croatia, to Italian mother, Croatian father. I came to UK in 1986. So I pursued my education here. When my parents left, I stayed behind to pursue a university degree. Once I graduated from university, that's when I truly started expressing my passion for the film. And I guess I was very much inspired by my parents to pursue a degree at university, but that was not really my plan. I had different dreams and aspirations.
What did you first become interested in? Was it the martial arts or the films first?
Martial arts came first. I think being 1970s child, I was very much inspired by Bruce Lee, like most of my generation have. So naturally, I took up martial arts at the age of 12 after having a particular incident of my brother being beaten up on the street. So my reason and purpose was very big from day one. I just wanted to make sure I don't ever get attacked or being victimized or ever find myself in that situation. That was in Taekwondo first of all. Once I received black belts in Taekwondo, I wanted to diversify into different systems of martial arts, including Wing Chun and Aikido and karate, kickboxing, combat self-defense. Just wanted to expand my knowledge in different fields. And then after graduating from university, I was offered a role in my first production alongside Scott Adkins, which was Black Mask 2, which was shot in Thailand in year 2000. It was released 2001.
I'll just ask you a little bit about your martial art background. So how did you find it when you first started out? Because it's quite sort of regimental, isn't it? How did you find that sort of training?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I was, as I previously said, I was very much inspired by martial arts movies, which required phenomenal discipline, focus, and resilience. And that was my mission and my goal, to make myself as resilient as I possibly can, physically as well as mentally. So I took up weight training exactly the same time as my martial arts to build up my body, to make myself stronger. And in fact, I was so infatuated by martial arts training and regime that I slept next to my bed for 2 years, from the age of 15, 3 years, from 15 to 18, on the hard floor, just to toughen myself up. I believed that in this ritual would strengthen me more than one way.
Did that work for you? Did that strengthen you? I've never heard of that before.
I don't know. I don't know what I've been otherwise if I hadn't done it. But my journey of self-improvement and self-growth mindset really started off then. Always looking to enhance myself, improve myself in so many ways, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Now that I teach, I have my own studio. I try to impart the same experience onto my students.
I think that's a great mindset to have, because that's quite to self-control yourself. To do that every night takes quite some discipline.
When you say hard, I mean, everything in life, if you want to achieve on a high level, it can be difficult. But because I had so much passion for it, so much desire, no, it doesn't feel like hard at all. I mean, I slept for 2 years on a sofa at my friend's house because I was financially not in a good place at the beginning of my filming career. So I deliberately put myself in a situation where I have to be hungry. So failure was not an option. I did not want to create myself a comfort zone where I felt, I'm comfortable here, I don't need to step out of it. So I deliberately created a scenario for myself where failure was not an option. So yeah, I mean, looking back, yeah, I might think it was hard, but at the time I didn't feel it was hard, because I was following my dreams, I was following my passions and aspirations. So the journey was nicely swift. Looking back now, I'm not sure if I would do it again, but yeah.
So when you started your martial arts, was the aim to become a movie martial artist, or was that just something that came further down the line?
Not necessarily. It came further down the line. But I remember my very first Taekwondo lesson. My dream was to become a black belt. And same as my brother. My brother and I started martial arts the same day. And my dream was to become a black belt. And I think it was further down the line that I realized the impact that martial arts have had on my life through movies, through movies mainly. I mean, 80s was the golden era for movies. And I wanted to impart the same experience onto others, as I do as a teacher in my classes. because movies are a very powerful medium to export your philosophies, your culture, and your ways.
Did you ever compete into martial arts, Silvio?
Oh, absolutely loved it. I was always very competitive as an athlete. So I competed only in Taekwondo, a little bit in kickboxing. 14 times British champion, 4 times European gold medalist, as well as world gold medalist in Taekwondo. My competitive career finished quite early, to be honest. I was 26 when I stopped competing, because that's when my movie career took off. So I decided I really needed to focus to one specific area. So I gave up my competing at the age of 26, and that's when I shot my first film, Black Mask 2, which was in Bangkok, Thailand, for 3 months alongside Scott Adkins.
Can I just ask you, how did you find a transition from fighting on the mat and fighting in films? Because obviously movies, you're not actually connecting all the time, are you?
Initially, I would say it was quite tough, because I was obviously a lot of the stuff I was doing in martial arts competitions, I was doing them on screen, so I had to ditch it. Now, when it comes to movies, everything is larger than life, so you have to over-exaggerate. In a tournament or on the street, if I'm throwing a punch or a kick, I would never telegraph what I'm going to do. Now, in the movies, you have to exaggerate, so you can see way ahead of deliverance. So yeah, they have to be larger than life. So I had to adapt. The style and system to be more suitable for screen.
Yeah, I suppose as well, you're under a lot of pressure, because if you do make contact with a lead actor, you've probably got the possibility of being thrown off a set or something, haven't you?
Well, yeah, the pressure is there, always has been. I do recall when I was fighting Jason Statham in Transporter 3, 1 or 2 occasions I did kick him. Obviously, coming from martial arts background, I'm sure those kicks had substantial power behind them. So he did get hurt once or twice. But I think my biggest concern and worry was when I was fighting Jet Li on Unleashed. And the very first day of shooting, I remember Yuen Woo-ping was there, the director of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and also Matrix 1, 2, and 3. And Yuen Woo-ping said to me, I had to do flying sidekick to Jet Li's back. That was the very first scene, the very first take we shot. And naturally, fighting against Jet Li, I was very concerned and worried. If I kick him too hard, I'm going to break him in half.
Yeah.
So I kept pulling my kicks back, not putting enough power. So he came on the set and he said, we want to see more power. You're not putting enough power. It looks like you've been drinking last night. So naturally, yeah, you will be concerned how much power you put in, because you can't afford to get injured or injure someone else, because it will cost the production a lot of money if they have to delay the production because of the injuries.
How did you first start out in the film industry? So what was it? How did you actually get into that?
Before I started in the film industry, I was doing TV commercials. I was doing sponsorships, deals for my sponsors. As a competitor, I had quite a few different sponsors within and outside of martial arts field. So I was already exposed to advertising, still photography, as well as videos. Then I did some TV commercials as well. I appeared on TV many times before. I fell in love with the whole industry because I was mixing with some of the greatest people in the industry, or cream of the crop from different fields, and that was inspiring me. That was very inspirational for me to transcend as an actor and a performer as well. So that inspired me. My first film, I remember I was working for Thames Valley University in the commercial development department. Another phone call from a guy saying, I saw an advert in the papers. They're looking for stunt guys to be in this film in Thailand. So I phoned up the agent. He signed me up on his books. And 5 weeks later, I was off to Thailand for 3 months. So I gave up my job, gave up my career. And I thought this is a new path for me, a new opportunity. And that's how I started off.
How did you find it in Thailand over there? Obviously not knowing the language and stuff. They treat you okay? And
No, I mean, everybody speaks English out there. Everybody speaks English. The whole production team, they came from Hong Kong. It was directed by Choi Hark. Choi Hark is an absolute legend in Hong Kong. So for me, it was a huge privilege to be working on such a big production alongside Scott Adkins, with whom I've become good friends on the film set. I fell in love with Thailand. I've been Thailand 3 times ever since. I love their culture. I love their food. Love the people. Last year, I was in Thailand for 2 weeks at meditation retreat, which was complete silence, meditating for 9 hours a day, no phones, no talking throughout the whole duration, which was a big challenge. But this is something I always wanted to do.
Yes, nice. Did you ever get to train any Thai boxing while you was over there? It's obviously well known.
One of the stunt guys was former Thai boxing world champion. I had a chance to exchange some blows with him on set, but not so much in the schools or anything. It was just on set, just messing around.
Could I just ask you a little bit about the acting now? So obviously, did you ever do any training for acting, or did you just sort of go in through the martial arts?
Of course, there was a school in Covent Garden, London School Lit. That's what it's called. Yeah, I train there. Still do the workshops. It's very important to maintain and improve your skills, strengthen your skills, add to your skill set, as well as improve it and maintain it throughout your career. Same as martial arts. You know, if you practiced martial arts 20 years ago, you would go rusty if you didn't practice. So you make sure you maintain your skills as well as your training in order to increase your longevity.
So can I just ask you a little bit about some of the actors you've worked with, like, you know, huge names. How does it feel like when you're first meeting them? Are you sort of nervous, under pressure?
I think in beginning I used to. I got to work with some actors which I've never even mentioned because I was just training them for the film. I auditioned and trained Tom Hardy for the Warrior film.
Oh, wow.
I worked with Keanu Reeves, Scott Adkins, Michael J. White, Bob Hoskins, Morgan Freeman, Jason Statham. These are just some of the guys. I think for me, I would say the biggest thing is they inspire me. It's as a teacher and the master of martial arts, it's very nice to be able to inspire and motivate others, especially children. But to be on the receiving end is also important for me because I need a mentor. I need someone to inspire me, motivate me to strive for better and higher. So having worked with these people has certainly served as a true inspiration for me to do better, not to make excuses, but to keep going forward.
Can I just ask you a little bit, like, say the film Boyka for Existence, them fight scenes, they must take hours to like rehearse and stuff. How long do they take to actually put together?
Well, funny enough, with Scott Adkins, I worked with him on 5 feature films and 2 TV productions, so we know each other really well. We can meet up, go on film set, and pull it off within a few hours. We can put the fight scene together. Now, each film, it depends on their budget. If they have a big budget, they can afford to allocate time to rehearsals, and they can afford to rehearse for 7 days or even 2 weeks. When I did Unleashed with Jet Li, this was a big production. Morgan Freeman. It was shot in Paris. This was Europa Corporation by Luc Besson. So we had 7 days to rehearse. With Undisputed 2, I think we only had 2 days rehearsal. As far as I remember, we had 2 days rehearsal because they didn't have much of a budget for it. So we had to quickly rehearse for it. JJ Perry was choreographing it. He's an absolute legend. So he came up with a very good choreography, and he said, I would like you to put a twist of your own input into it, which helps a lot. When you have your own input, you're working with stuff which you're completely familiar with. So I've very much enjoyed working on Undisputed 2 because I had my own input. If the budget is big, they can allocate up to 7 days, 2 weeks for rehearsals. On smaller budget movies, the turnaround is much quicker. So they tend to do it much quicker, which is a bit dangerous because action scenes really require a lot more attention to detail, because this action really sells on screen, especially if you're coming from martial arts background. You want to make sure that you deliver at your absolute best. Undisputed 2, I think we had 2 days rehearsal. Unleashed, maybe 7 days.
I'll just ask you, obviously, when you was filming in Thailand, I've done an interview with Lauren Avedon from King of the Kickboxers. Right. He was telling us about the health and safety over there. Obviously, it's totally different to here in America. Did you experience any of that yourself?
Oh, completely different. I recall that, first of all, when I arrived Thailand, I was on film set for a whole 3 weeks with not a single day off. They work 7 days a week. They've got no unions to protect the actors to say, this is the criteria you have to meet. So I worked for 21 days flat out without a single day off. And then I had, I think, 4 days off or something. You would work 12 to 16 hours a day. So health and safety has not been priority. For instance, there was one scene where Scott Adkins was on wires. He was up on the wires all day long. Everything was fine up until the very final scene when they lowered him, the wire snapped somehow. I mean, these wires can hold weight of a car, and the wire had snapped. So sometimes if you rush through some of the scenes, accidents can happen. Luckily, no accidents did happen, but they potentially can happen. So you're completely right. Health and safety is not the biggest priority.
Yeah, so a little bit sort of taking a risk sometimes with things like that, aren't you, to progress in that industry?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. You have to take risks, and if you're willing to take those risks, you're going to go a lot further. But talking of which, I mean, Thailand was not as bad. I did a film in India, in Pune, which is 2 hours drive from Mumbai up north, and I have a fight scene on the rooftop against the lead guy. And this film was a complete rip-off of Phone Booth with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And we've got a fight scene on 11-story building on the rooftop, and he kicks me off, and we have to film this, obviously, me coming off the building. I was petrified. I have to say this was one of the hardest things I ever did. So as a precaution, they put an air bubble at the base of the building, so I fall on the bubble, as well as the wires. I still had big concerns because I didn't really have a medical with the team. And I said, what if something happens to me? The guy said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We'll take you to hospital. And I said, yeah, no, but you didn't put this in writing. I need it in writing. Like in UK, Western society, we need everything in writing. So it's legally confirmed. So I was very concerned, but luckily nothing happened. So everything was good. But falling off 11-story building was probably one of the hardest things I had to do.
Yeah, sounds scary to me, mate. Have you ever had an injury on set?
Minor things, really minor bruises, cuts, punched ribs and stuff, but no fractures, broken bones, or anything like that. I've been very lucky in that sense, although I've been doing most of my stunts.
Can I just ask, what's been your most, from your own personal experience, what's been your favourite film you've actually shot, or favourite fight scene you've actually shot?
Do you know what? In all honesty, I don't really have my absolute favourite as such, because there was something I enjoyed from each and every experience I had. Something I picked up, something unique, something different. But I guess some of the productions where I had my own input, I choreographed my own fight scenes, they were probably the best in the sense that it was mine. It was my own input. Maybe the cameras weren't so expensive, maybe the budget wasn't so good, but it was my own input into the entire fight scene. And over the last 10 years, I've been having a lot more input than ever before. The choreographer will say, you know what? You show us what you can do. Show us your absolute best. So those were the productions which I thought, yeah, I really enjoyed working on it, because this is my opportunity to shine and express myself.
Just ask a little bit. So obviously, when you're on these sets for like the one you said for 21 days, so you don't get time to train or stuff like that, or even rehearsals are very limited. So is it just basically just concentrating on that shoot?
Well, that Productionz Boyka, which was Black Mask 2, that was for 3 months. I actually worked for 21 days without break. Then I had 4 days off. I was there for 3 months for the whole duration. No. Now, when it comes to training, that's normally in the contract. You have to give me access to the gym. I have to have access to the gym. So whenever I travel, they either get me a set of weights or machines to train within vicinity, or I get a gym membership. Every production I've been on, that's included in the contract.
Yeah, I was going to say, otherwise that's a long break, isn't it, to have if you don't train?
It's too long of a break. I mean, one of the productions I did in China was for 3 months as well, Dead or Alive. That was with Eric Roberts, Sarah Carter, Jamie Presley. That was within our contract. We had to eat healthy because we play these sports people, had tops off, and girls were wearing bikinis. We were not allowed any sweets, any chocolates, any cakes. We had to train every single day, collectively together, and then separately I trained in a gym as well. So some productions, they make it compulsory. You have to train and you can't eat unhealthy food.
Can I just ask you a little bit? Obviously, you look like you're pretty much in good shape all the time, but when you're not filming, do you have a season where you sort of let yourself go a little bit and have a little treat and then go back, or do you stay?
I think Christmas time is probably the only time I let go for 2 weeks. That's about it, really. I still train 5 days a week if I'm not on film set. If I'm not busy or away somewhere, I still train 5 days a week. That's the first thing I do. After I have my coffee, I go to the gym. This is what I say to people: develop good discipline, because motivation is going to run out. When motivation runs out, the discipline has to kick in and take over. So yeah, if I'm feeling tired, if I'm feeling exhausted, I'll still go gym every morning.
Yeah. Consistency is the key then.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Can I ask a little bit about your teaching now, Silvia? So, when
Sure,
did you first
absolutely.
start teaching your martial arts?
I was 18 years old. I was pursuing business economics degree at Thames Valley University in West London, and that was my first time that I started teaching. I was 18 years old. I was teaching a students' union, and I was there for 9 years because once I graduated from university, I was working for university for commercial development department. So in total, I was teaching there for 9 years, and I've got to be honest with you, that was one of the best times of my life. University gave me so much support. I had great students. I was competing a lot with my students. I was competing internationally, and that really helped me through the studies.
Yeah. How did you find transitioning from like training to coaching? Obviously, you got to perfect everything you do to be able to coach, haven't you?
I think it's part of the same circle. It's two sides of a different coin. And if you are students, and if you're listening to a lecture or lesson or workshop, you may only retain 25 to 30% of the information. That's the official statistic. Now, when you're teaching, you engage your thought process a lot more. You engage your mind a lot more. You retain as much as 90% of the information. So I realized when I started teaching, I was thinking and dwelling on the ideologies and methodologies and mechanics behind the techniques. So all of a sudden, I found I understood techniques a lot more than before. So teaching has certainly helped me retain a lot more information to be able to pass it on to others.
Silvia, have you ever had to use your martial arts in a real life situation?
I have a number of times. I remember once Scott Atkins was in a bar with me when I was involved in a fight. Luckily, nothing in the last 10 years. We've got too many CCTV cameras, and obviously, I'm always very concerned if a fight breaks out. As we know, as martial artists, there are no winners. There are no winners. One is going to go to a police station. The other one's going to go to the hospital. So nobody's going to win. I was actually involved in a minor thing last year when I saw someone shoplifting, and the person who was shoplifting was being confronted by 3 staff members from the shop, but they couldn't handle him. So I felt I had to step in. But I dealt with it so well, I didn't have to hang around. I didn't even wait for police. I said to the guys, no, you hold him hostage. Do whatever you need to do. I want to go home, have dinner. I did not want to wait around for police and police reports for an hour and a half. But no, I don't like to get involved unless I really have to, because of all these complications afterwards and time wasted. But I have been times and times in the past.
Yeah. How have you find as for your martial arts? Obviously, when you was young, you said about you didn't want to be bullied and stuff. So, how have you found martial arts has built your confidence to deal with a real life situation?
Oh, in multiple ways. In multiple ways, especially because I was competing for many years. Now, reality of fighting is not always found in the tournament fighting, because obviously we dilute it to make it safer for people to engage in. But it's helped me in multiple ways. Improve my speed, my reaction time, my observation, my focus, my pain threshold is certainly higher, much faster, much more explosive than most other people. And I've moved away from competition in my own school for the first 7 years of teaching. Then I decided I'm going to introduce my students to competition, which I have 3 years ago. Reason being is if you don't compete, you're never going to really strive to create the best version of yourself. You think that what you would do is enough for the streets. So I've started incorporating competition for my students as well, because it does. It helps you in so many ways. It keeps you on the edge. If you don't train hard enough, you're going to get your ass whipped. So you think to yourself, I've got to go and train harder.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What's your favourite sort of techniques to use in martial arts for film and sort of on the mat?
My signature move was a hooking kick, front legs hooking kick, because it's very hard to detect because it's coming from the side. It's off the front leg. I shift my weight back, so I'm out of range, out of reach. And this is one of the techniques which I still mention to my students. I remember a tournament. I bow, brought my right leg back, both hands up. When the referee put the hand down for us to proceed with the fight, I changed my stance from left leg forwards to right leg forwards. And the guy started charging towards me. I did a hooking kick to his nose, 2.5 seconds knockout. The guy was knocked out. So hooking kick was my favorite techniques because it's very sneaky, very deceptive, and it can deliver a lot of power in it. So when I was competing, hooking kick was my favorite.
How long did it take you to get up to the ranks, to the black belt?
Whoa. I got it under 3 years. I got in 2 years and 10 months.
Yeah, it's quite fast, yeah.
2 years, 10 months. But I was training 3-4 times a week at the time. And training sessions were 2 hours long, not 1 hour like nowadays. Tough times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create bad times. And I think we are at that time now. I look at my students, their memory is extremely poor. They can't remember a kata, which is merely 8 movements or 12 movements. They forget it from month to month. There's no resilience. There's too much crying and upset. And lessons are 1 hour long as opposed to 2 hours. Today's generation are not even 20% of what my generation was.
Yeah,
It's tough time. You had to do it to survive. I get worried for kids nowadays how they lack resilience. Too much mobile phones, using their thumbs. They don't get up, they don't get out. So, yeah, there's much to be said about today's generation.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, 100%. I mean, even coming down to now with like winning stuff. Years ago, you had to go out and win something. Now, people are just getting handed stuff. You're getting certificates. You're getting certificates left, right, and centre for doing bugger all. It's just, where's the? It's lost the winning part of it, hasn't it? It's like.
Well, I went to my son's school sports day, and every single kid that participates gets a medal. But I said to them, not everyone that goes to Oxford or Cambridge University will graduate. You know, you've got to work hard for it. You've got to show the grit. This is reality of life. Not everyone's going to succeed. Only those who have the grit, the discipline to focus and put the effort in. But I remember one of my tournaments, parents were unhappy that their kid lost and they quit the classes because of it. It's just a poor attitude. You know, if people lose, they quit. Oh, I don't want to do it anymore. Or if they've lost once, they don't want to take part in the next tournament.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of learning though, because when you lose, it makes you more hungry to want to go out and win. Where if you just win, you're more likely to give up because it's come too easy for you, I think.
Well, my son is 10 years old and he's been training since he was 3. He's got complete grit and resilience because last year alone, he won 9 golds, 1 silver, 1 bronze. He won the US Open, he won the UK Open, plus the London Championships. And I came back to the class and I said in front of the whole class, I want him to lose because he's going to learn much bigger lesson from losing than from all the wins. Yeah. Because when you get disappointed, when you lose, you go back to the drawing board and think, what can I do differently? How can I improve? How can I evolve from here? So, and he did. He lost recently and I was happy. I said it was about time because this is bigger lesson than any of the wins and victories he's had before.
Yeah. I've seen that myself in like with a few MMA fighters. They've had, easy fights, win, and then when they get one where they do lost, they can't come back for it. They give up or they quit. So it's definitely a good thing to be able to overcome the loss and keep going on. I think that's where you're winning, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, life is not about winning. You're going to lose way more times than you're going to lose, way more times. But what will determine how far you'll go is how you pick yourself up, with a good attitude or do you have a bad attitude. If you have a good attitude, keep moving forwards, you'll succeed eventually.
Can I just ask you, what have you got planned for the future? What does the future hold for you now?
Oh God, I've got such a busy few months ahead of me now. We just did a Krav Maga seminar last Sunday, which I hosted. From my master from Arizona, he came over, so he did a seminar on Sunday. We've got our tournament on the 6th of July. Then we've got London Open on the 20th of July. Then I'll start filming on the 2nd of July, a film called Cage Rage. As soon as my son finishes school, we're off to USA. We're going to go to Montana, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, Arizona. And then I'll start filming again in September.
No rest for you then.
I'm doing some seminars. I'm going to Argentina to do seminars in October. And then I've got Texas, Dallas in December.
Wow. Busy schedule, very busy.
Not as busy as I was, but to be honest with you, I prefer it this way. I prefer it right now, especially being a family man. I love to be home with family.
Yeah, of course. Can I just ask you, what words of advice would you have for any youngsters that want to follow in your footsteps, either in martial arts or movies or both? What words could you give them?
I would say follow your dreams, follow your heart, because they are compass the way you should be going. They are compass, they're going to guide you. And work really, really hard. Make yourself different to anyone else. Make yourself unique. Don't try to copy and mimic others. Make yourself who you are. Identify what your strengths are and work on them, because each and every one of us has got something unique, something within the niche that we can offer. Work on it really hard and make yourself much better than anyone else, and you will stand out. And it's that uniqueness that's going to be your selling point.
So Silvio, where can people find you if they want to get in contact with you, or they want to go to your seminars or follow anything you're doing?
I've got a website, which is www.silviosimac.co.uk. But I think the more easier ones are probably Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, Facebook, which I've got 2 accounts on. Much easier just to follow my stories, my updates, any up-and-coming movies. Actually, one of my movies, which I did last year, the Suicide Platoon, has just won 7 awards at Cannes Film Festival, so I'm most happy about that.
Silvio, I'm not going to keep you too long because I promised you I wouldn't go over
No problems at all. That's fine.
Have you got any funny stories you could just tell us before we end up from the film sets? The things that happen on set that shouldn't happen and go wrong?
There's a scene in Unleashed with Jet Li, with whom I got on really well, and he jumps on my back. And I throw him over my shoulder on the floor, and he started kissing my neck, and he said, "We're not going to fight. We're friends. We're not going to fight. We're friends." But on the actual scene, where take him off my shoulders and slam him against the floor, his stunt double was performing this, and he dislocated his shoulder as he landed on the floor. And I was being ever so apologetic because, you know, it was an accident, it happened. But he had a smile on his face. And I said, "Why are you looking so happy?" He said, "I get to go home. I've not been home for 6 months back in China." They were shooting Matrix 2 and 3 back to back in Australia. As soon as they finished Matrix 2 and 3, they came to Paris to film Unleashed. And he said, "I've not been home for 6 months. I didn't see my family." So he was happy to be back. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right, Silvio, I'll let you go, but I really appreciate having you on. I really appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
It's been great listening to your stories. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you.